Assalamualaikum, everyone. Welcome. If you're just now coming into the space, thank you for being here if you're in here before 9. My name is Asia, and I'm the program director for GenerAction Jam. It's my first time back in over a year, so I've already put this disclaimer out there. I don't know what's going to happen. We're just going to experience this journey together. Um, Alhamdulillah, it's been such a great privilege to be able to plan um, this program. And today I wanted to make it a little special. We normally don't have vendors or artists or food outside. Coffee is always real. Today was just an opportunity to kind of bring in community. I think we all need a little bit of rest and restoration and community moments. It's well something that we wanted to create for today. So hopefully we'll have the time today. Okay, so I wrote a lot of things down because I'm not going on with these days. My brain becomes so scrambled that I cannot say it. I feel like it's like brain fog and cloudy, and I just wanted to make sure that I say what I want to say. And I promise that I tell you all a good story. So, Sara's still not in here, so y'all gonna have to hear this twice. But Sara Bawany published her second book, and I purchased it and read the whole thing almost in one sitting, and it was beautiful. There are so many pieces there that I felt like I related to, and I'm someone who processes things super slow. So we might have a conversation one day, and then a couple months later, I'm like, oh, like that's what I was thinking or feeling or whatever. So it was really nice to be able to see a lot of the things that I had been trying to process for so long in words and be able to kind of relate to them. That's one of my favorite things about GenerAction Jam is you find those moments in film, you find them in music, you find them in poetry, and whatever anyone has to offer the space, you may find a way to connect with it and also speaks for yourself. I guess I have super scrambled notes, but when I was reading Sara's words, it was so beautiful to see the growth and to know that there's light for some of what still seems like dark moments. She explains faith and relationships, loneliness, anger, and joy. There's feelings of security there, feelings and I guess understanding. And it gave us a glimpse into a person whose outward appearance is soft and blurred with light. If y'all haven't had a chance to chat with Sara, I recommend that you just take a moment. She'll be here throughout the whole program and then a little bit afterwards, just so you can see what I'm talking about. And I'm just extremely grateful for all the moments that she brought us into her life and shared with us her words. And she was really vulnerable. Like, okay, like let me try that. So I told y'all that I was here for a year and I took a break almost to Montana because I had an opportunity there and it was something I'd never done before and I was so excited about it. And I got there and it was beautiful. It snowed every single day, literally every single day. And and literally everything just keeps going there. You know how here it gets a little bit cold and then the world stops. Literally, business are closed, you don't go to school, you don't do anything. No, things keep going in Montana. I remember I was supposed to have a meeting with my supervisors, and like generally I work from home, but I had this meeting that was supposed to be once a week and it kept getting canceled. And finally they're like, okay, we're gonna meet on Monday. It was negative 13 outside, and they're like, yeah, the meeting's still on. And my boss showed up in jeans and a baseball cap. It's just like it's so different. It was a great experience. But it ended shortly because all of a sudden my days and my nights like my mind and my body weren't connected anymore. And all of a sudden I had 8 hours of waking time and the rest of the time I don't know what happened. So I had to readjust and I had to figure out a new space and environment to be in. So I came back to the there's community, there's no snow, there's lots of heat. This summer was so hot. I don't know about y'all, but I spent most of my summer on bed rest because I shattered my arm and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go anywhere. And I was like, alhamdulillah, honestly, like that's a blessing because I don't have to be in this heat. But then alhamdulillah, I recovered. I did PT, I did all the things, and I go back outside and it's so hot. I was like, okay, I don't know how to adjust to this anymore, but inshallah, we're gonna get there. And these days have been so beautiful. So I feel like the summer is me so ready. But so thank you to everyone that has welcomed me back and literally asked me if I'm I still see people, I think I came back in May. I still see people today who are like, oh, are you visiting? Are you like right here? I'm here. So, we can coffee, we can do other things. Inshallah, we'll meet once a month at GenerAction. Um, and knowing that there's so much going on, like life in the world, etc., I really wanted to take a moment to extend gratitude to all of our mental health professionals, therapists, counselors, chaplains. We try to invite them to this space. It's a really busy time for everyone. So unfortunately, a lot of them are not able to be here with us, but there's so much work happening in the community in terms of mental health spaces. So if you feel like you need to connect, whether that's group therapy, I think we have group therapy after yoga sometimes, whether it's like chatting with a chaplain, let us know and we'll try to connect to those resources. There's also so much work going on in MSAs, and we can also connect to them. Thank you so much for being here. I talked about you, and I will talk about you. That comes enough. I think that we are going to get into the training program because extremely dynamic. It's a little bit different than what we're used to, but we're gonna run with it. We have, I think, 10 people signed up, including a filmmaker, and we also have Sara Bawany. Oh, it's thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
Because I have another mic connected to it,
Just have to make sure.
so it's interfering.
Okay, so I got bribed into doing this, so follow through it. Anyways, so I get something good. Anyways, so I wrote this poem 3 days ago. So no judgment, please. I had to later find it. Tried to finish it today, but we'll see. All right, so there's a trigger warning. There is graphic imagery, so if you're squeamish. All right. I have been wondering, thinking. Okay. All right. Take two. I have been wondering, thinking, why is it that everything I'm seeing in false steam hurts me as though I'm experiencing the very same thing? As though I were an empath absorbing the trauma, the anguish, and the loss. As though I had switched souls with them and knew of their loneliness and grief, knew of their fear and sadness and restless pursuit of relief, knew of their hunger and thirst and unwavering determination to survive despite being battered, bruised, and beat. I cry and I shake as if I knew of the weight of the rubble against their frail bodies, knew of the charring sensation and smell of flesh burning as the pressure sears through their skin and bone, knew of the anguish as the limbs detach from them, ligament by ligament, muscle by muscle, as though I knew it all. I've been wondering, thinking, and I have come to the conclusion that it's because this could have been me. Though I am not given the honor of claiming to have come from the land of the Sham, the land of olives, the home of resilience, from the people of Sabr, I am the child of Sheba, from the land of coffee and Rasulullah's favorite clothes, from the home of belief, from the people of the tender-hearted, I am from Yemen. And though I do not know of 75 years of oppression and occupation, I do know of death and carpet bombing and determination to annihilate my people from those who call themselves my siblings in religion. And even if it wasn't from where the port of, even if I wasn't from where the port of Aden flows, I would weep and scream and sob as though the devastation were persisting within me. For I was raised under the banner of mutual kindness, compassion, and sympathy. I was raised as a Muslim, born into a religion that believes in communal responsibility, where selfishness exists but never perseveres amongst the overall state of the Jama'ah. I am a submitter to the one, the only. So when one part of the ummah bleeds, the vessels of my heart rings together dry as though the blood of my sadness drips out of me too. And even if I wasn't a Muslim, of the ummah of Rasulullah, a believer in ikhlas, an advocate for helping those oppressed and lost, I am human. I am human, and though I can do nothing but sympathize and make dua and offer a few measly dollars, I am confident in their freedom and liberation. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of planners, the truthful and the most just, the compassionate, and the one who pardons the shaheeds. I am human, and what I can do is limited and finite, but I have no fear in their destiny, for Allah is the one with them, always, forever, close and hard, and He will lighten their heart. and ease their pain in a way I can never feel, but will continue to iterate and submit and pray. Okay,
You don't. My speech is. Thank you so much for starting us off so strongly. I will always love hearing your words. Um, there's something that I usually do before we get started that I told you all. Everybody has been scattered. We're trying to recenter tonight. That will be the goal for myself tonight. So we're going to take it back a couple steps. And I'm going to invite you to close your eyes if that's something that feels comfortable to you and really acknowledge where you're at, right? Because I think we're all in different spaces. We're all feeling so many things. There's so many emotions that are coursing through our communities. So I want you to acknowledge where you're at. I want you to also acknowledge where that sensation is in your body, right? Where are you feeling it? So you can place your hand there if that's something that you want to do, just to kind of acknowledge where you're at. I want you to accept where you are and know that it could be different in 5 minutes. It could be different in 30 minutes. It's something that is fluid and that's going to move through with you tonight. We're going to take a couple of breaths together. And usually we just try to ground ourselves, right? So like you're going to pay attention to where your body is touching the ground. So you're going to pay attention to maybe how like the cloth feels on your skin, how the air is moving through this room. But today I want you to focus on those sensations and I want you to focus on those emotions. And I want you, as you inhale, to imagine all of the things that you want to invite into your mind tonight. All of the things that you want, that you're trying to get out of the space, you're going to imagine that as you inhale. And you're going to hold it for a second. And then as you exhale, I want you to imagine everything that you want to get rid of. Like, what does that look like exhaling outside of your body? We're just going to do that a couple of times here. So you're going to breathe in, imagine all the sensations you want to bring in, and you're going to breathe out all of the sensations that you want to leave in the space. Thank you. At any point, anyone feels like there's something that just they have to share with everyone, let me know and we'll put you on to the lineup. I'd also like to encourage y'all to show anyone who gets up here love because, like I said, I've done this a lot, but today I'm so nervous, right? It's something that I'm like not exactly used to, and I've done it a lot. A lot of people are coming up here for the first time. A lot of people are sharing things that are vulnerable with you for the first time. So it's something that we want to make sure that we're acknowledging throughout the space. So you hear something that you vibe with, or you hear something that you like, just snap a little bit. Y'all know I don't snap, so you're gonna have to do it for me. And just make sure that you're listening with your whole body because that's what's going to motivate them to want to continue to share their work. So we're going to stick to snaps today. Okay, let's try it out. I don't see any snapping happening on this side. Thank you. Perfect. So that's something that you're into. Please snap whenever you feel it's right. We're going to continue with our program, and I'm going to call up Rosalie, who is one of our OGs. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to read a poem called Book, Blood Thicker Than Oil. I often wonder that if our blood was thick with oil, would they be more hesitant when spilling it on the ground? Because we've seen how much they care for fuel. From Iraq to Iran, they've turned the world into their battleground just so their cars and planes can move around. And their tanks and navy ships that kill by the thousands. Obviously, human life is worth less than their weapons. Honestly, no, I don't think they care more if oil flowed through our veins, because they do not hesitate to bomb our beautiful landscapes. What would make us different than those breathtaking skylines that they have filled with dust? If we were made of oil, that dust would be us. They'd siphon the oil out of our dead bodies the same way that they've done to the land that they decimate. Humans and nature are bound to the same fate. Indiscriminately. Made up scenarios are useless when this death is a reality. As hundreds of my people die every day, I try to brainstorm ways to get the world to look their way, to make them see us as more than animals, more than prey. This is not a metaphor. Human lives are at stake. From Palestine to Sudan to Congo, we are seen as dispensable. They care more about material. Our lives are expendable. They care more about cash, killing babies from the womb who had never seen a dollar. They care more about peace, not knowing what peace means, yet still they still holler. They can try as much as they want, but we cannot be silenced because the blood in our veins pumps to a heart resilient and defiant.
What are some words or sensations or feelings that stood out to you? Parents sucks. Parents sucks. Is that a sensation? Is that a feeling? I heard something over here.
Vivid imagery.
Vivid imagery, beautiful. I heard defiance, but like defiance, you know? You say it and your whole body feels something. Resilient, like, yeah. Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to make sure that I'm gonna do this correctly. This next person, y'all, it's their first time here, and I have no idea. But I'm really, really excited that they're here to share their words with us. So please join me in welcoming Mila. Speaking like this. Okay. My name is Isabel. I really liked hearing the two that performed before. They're really nice, mashallah. And very Italian houses as well. Um, okay. This poem is a bit old, but I feel like it's been relevant since then. Um, and it's even more relevant right now. So yeah. Since when were dreams of power, dreams of fame and wealth worth more than dreams of peace, of happiness and health? Since when could a child's chance at life be sold for an adult's greed, sailing ships over the tears they shed, flowing green from the red they bleed? The sound of screams and shells and bombs are ringing in their ears. Will they ever ring from laughter, ring from joy instead of fear? How differently would they grow up in a world not cloaked with gray? If their eyes could see beyond the dust, if their lungs could breathe each day, will there come a time when they see a plane and think of flying to another land, instead of fearing what may fall from it and obliterate the ground on which they stand? How many lives are sprawled beneath the ash, seeds that could have bloomed? How many families mourn a martyr's end, an empty space within the room? How many people run on trails of blood, not even knowing they're in pain? How many people only hope to live while their hope is but in vain? How many silent tears fall from a mother's eyes as she holds her children's hands, wishing the dirt on their knees was not from ash, but from the ocean's salty sand? How many fathers cradle a wailing child who has a whole life ahead to live, but the only life that he can provide is not the life he wishes to give? I pray for a day where all of their tears are a river that flows at their feet. A day where freedom isn't a myth, but a reality, something concrete. I pray for a day where the children can play with no care in the hot afternoon. And I pray for a night where they're clad in calm with faces bright as the moon. I pray for a day where the tears on their lips are not salty, but rather taste sweet. A day where of anguish their minds are devoid, with happiness their hearts are replete. I pray for a day where the weight of their dreams is the same as the weight of all of ours.
where the wounds that they bear no longer bleed and instead are but faded scars. How boldly we all live our lives while our brothers and sisters can't even live theirs. May Allah requite them for all of their pain. May He accept every one of their prayers.
You can stand out for y'all. Things that you resonate with. Things that made you want to snap.
Every day.
Ever.
Listen, we okay.
That's your being sweet. I haven't painted in a really long time, but whenever I get here, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna paint this. A few housekeeping things. I realize I said all these things before we started, but bathrooms are yellow.
You come out, I'll just.
Bathroom is like a little bit further down the hall.
Who's gonna keep going?
And then I have one that really just left, so you'll get it.
Maybe we'll.
Oh, we are recording live, so please just know.
Just yours, right there. I'll let her.
If that's something you're not comfortable with, definitely let me know
Let people
before.
live know that, hey, the next one's
The
very
next,
honest, and then we'll cut it.
I want to.
Just that. Is it gonna be like the first one? I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. One. Okay, that makes more sense for the last one. Oh, maybe just make it. First one, and then turn. Yeah, that way. We'll turn it off. Okay. Brother, move to your left. Yeah, you good right there.
The stage name is One Cause. This is something I performed at Avant. It's untitled, but you get the message, I'm sure. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the venue. Thank you for all the volunteers. Is there a tricking to fixing my addicting affliction? There's the mission to be fixing to fix the fictional depiction. Someone hold me now. I think I need a medic. Her presence is prophetic. Her lips powder full of sugar and the powerful pull of hallucinogenics. The way she walks into hearts and tears into parts is so perfected. When she passes by, I feel like my own gravity and respiration is neglected. Her strut is physically manifested. Calligraphy, everything I see now, I only want to see in her perspective. Her eyes are supernova. Oh, her eyes. If I told you like someone threw a Technicolor Molotov cocktail at your mind. Inflamed explosion, infused of colors showed in, glowing. 4K HD retina display, showcasing an array. All the side of which will cut you down the middle. Catching her pupils will harpoon you into pools of marine, so serene, blue and green, effervescence that will consume you. She's one gorgeous Medusa. She makes you beg for persistence, a little cut down your existence, right down the middle. They'll excite you at the same time. They put your brain into a riddle. Moments become a time lapse, constant dopamine rush with each synapse. I mean, this girl make Hera, Aphrodite, and Athena blush. She's like the goddesses and mythological narratives. She's on the cusp of all evolution. Her gene pool is a perfected mixture, like he commanded the very angels to concoct their own heterogeneous solution. She's a cure to everything from the common cold to polio. She's a dunked into milk, but miraculously, okay. She's a dunked into milk, but miraculously remains intact Oreo. She's like an MSA zealot, wallahi, inshallah, bro. Turned into a helpless, pathetic Romeo. Be careful, oh brothers of this dunya and its worldly pleasures. Sister walks by stage left. Assalamu alaikum. How can I help you, sister? She's like a million ace final exams. I mean, God, I see, excuse me, ma'am. She said, do you know who I am? I said, no. She said, I am your rush of iman. I am that tickle of serotonin and adrenaline that you feel when you know that your creator has created you with a plan. I was here when you were born and the war had just begun. I watched you grow from a curious, innocent child into an adventurous and persevering young man. And I'll be here till the trumpet is blown by Mikael on command. I know you made mistakes, and I know you've seen things and you got slammed. And every time you raised up each of your trembling hands and felt the grace of his strong, luminous embrace, when Satan sends his fleet of sentinels that attack from up and down and left and right. When you used your mind and might to scale the height above each and every single rail and painful plight. and felt your soul spread its vast, powerfully, kinetically charged wings and take flight? I'm that light. And I've come to your side at every trial and triumph. I always got your six. I don't need a trigger. They're getting by one spiritual figure. I am the arrow of a shame I'm that moment when you let out that scream, when the demons stop infiltrating your dreams. I am here for when your spirit begins to lean. For I am all you have, and all you have is me. I'm thicker than blood and the epitome of your anatomy. You see, I'm not male or female, I'm androgyny, and I'm not permanent or temporary. I am you and you are me. I will always be. I am the cure to pains from seeing injustice and poverty. I'm the therapy to when your enemy is your enemy. I'm heaven sent. I'm that feeling when you look around and you finally stop to pretend that you know everything and you all but yourself within. And I will be here till you're older, Graham. To the days you stop Instagram flexing and your spine starts to bend back towards the earth. When you start to really show remorse and hurt for all the sins, and only thing on your mind is you want to leave behind good, well-behaved kin. I'm here then, and I'll be here, baby boy. Don't worry, I'll be here till the very end. Thank you.
That's a good start.
So I couldn't tell if both water bottles crackling
I don't know.
or since not that fair.
I don't know about y'all. I'm coming here,
Well,
it's not a great view. Oh,
Which one baby playing? Thank you so much. Also, was it your first time here?
Yes.
Okay.
Not the mushroom, but
No, like GenerAction Gym.
yes.
Okay.
Oh, no.
sorry.
I was there for an Lucio when it started.
2012,
Okay.
13, 14, yeah.
And stop.
This is the new wave.
Yeah, I'm old. I'm
Yeah, well, okay. Let's not talk about what all this today is, but yes, welcome to GenerAction. Yeah, age is just the mindset. It's like you got something stored. Okay, we're gonna move on. Another person, is your person amazing. This honestly beautiful. I love welcoming new people into this space. I also love welcoming OGs, but welcome to the stage, Justin.
Oh, Justin.
Since that's so very positive, then I didn't feel like I was in the wrong place. Okay, here we go. Okay, okay, good. Okay, here it goes. So the poem is called Life's Ocean. And for anybody who doesn't know me, I'm sure like nobody. I was incarcerated for 5 years and I had just got out earlier this year. So this is a poem that I wrote while I was in my cell doing a lot of self-reflecting, self-meditation. So it goes, I feel lost in an ocean, currents pulling me here and there. This life is so vast, unlimited, overwhelming. So many possibilities, so many things you can be, I so believe. I'm constantly pulled by the currents of choices here and there and over there. I want to be all of them. I want to learn everything. I go here, I go there, and then I'm not anywhere. I'm not anything. I feel lost in an ocean. What to do, what to be. I could be anything, I so believe. I'm disappointed that I can't do everything. I can't be everywhere. I can't know everything. This life is so vast, unlimited, overwhelming. I feel lost in an ocean. I just want to be found. I just want to be free.
So part of the reason why I asked for y'all to share is because literally I get up here and it doesn't matter what I heard, it just goes right out the door. So if you're and summarize for me, what you heard, what came out? Lost in the ocean. To be found. Wanting to be free, so free.
So,
So there's some yellow book that's over here.
I like
You like the way you choice is, yeah. Absolutely.
I like the contest. It's combined, but also it's binding.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like our bodies just need to catch up with where our brains are at. How do we get those to connect and then just, it's like flying from the already. Yeah, she said taking that wrong. The opposite of what we're talking about right here. Anything else? Thank you so much for sharing that thoughts. So we're just switching up a little bit. We have had some beautiful words shared with us. Our spoken word artists and poets, but we're going to play a film for y'all. And Skies, I wanted to ask you if you could just share some words, a little bit of inspiration about the film that we're about to see. So, young filmmaker, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shahed, and I'm a Palestinian filmmaker here in Houston. About a year ago, I came to one of these GenerAction Jam events, and I told the people that were there, the audience, that I was going to come back with a Palestinian short film, inshallah. And today is the day where that's going to be shown. And the short film was something that, well, was not the easiest to have made and shared, which I alhamdulillah, was able to do a month ago, but it's something that I shot April 2022 last year. And I guess you could say the premise is, well, it's set in 1948, right before the Palestinian Nakba. And it's about a young girl and her mom just tending to their regular errands and their daily routine right before the Nakba happens, which I'm sure you have heard that everything happened that the Nakba is when Israel came and expelled over 750,000 Palestinians from their home. So the short film was very, I mean, it's a lot. It's a heavy topic, and I don't like saying trigger warnings, especially since it's something that I think everybody should be able to see, and I'm sure you have already on your social media pages. But after post credit, there is some footage of what's currently happening in Palestine, and so just in case you guys, so you know that there's some, bloody videos after the short film finishes. But I hope you guys enjoy it, and inshallah, it helps aid more in what's going on in Palestine. So hope you guys enjoy. Thank you.
Oh, it's gonna make me do it all over again.
So actually, I saw that. I noticed that. But this short film I have released on numerous platforms, but the one I guess they're going to show it on is YouTube. It is age restricted, which is really annoying because YouTube shows a lot of stuff and it doesn't need to be age restricted, but whatever. And so yeah, you can there you go. My production name is Honey Blackbird Films, and you can find my Instagram on there too, and YouTube. The short film is right there in case you're unable to see it. And if you're still having a hard time seeing it, I'll leave like a card with Aisha. So thank you.
Thanks. What? Why does it look so small? Is it? Why does it look so small?
It's not supposed to be that. The TV said. Hey, Alex.
Yeah, seems so.
You have to start.
Turn off the TV.
It happens on our PC.
Really? You just gotta close out.
Not the airplane, I think.
Well, my phone is streaming, so I can't. Well,
Do we want to try to switch TVs or?
yeah, let's see one more time. There we go. Alhamdulillah. Appreciate it.
الشغل شو نحسن بدنا نخلص يلا بدنا ناكل هالدكان زي ما قلت امبارح في الليل بدك تروحي بتروحي بيساعدك أنا يوم يا حبيبتي بخاف عليك من الوضع لأنه وضع بخوف شو هذا حلو.
في أحسن من أبوي.
لا هو بجيب لي كمان بجيب ليش؟ شو ضايعين.
عند الشاب.
السلام عليكم. شو بتسوي؟ إيه سيدي نجيب زيتون. نجيب زيتون وتحت شو رأيك؟ This is what I experienced minutes after setting foot in my family's hometown.
Thank you, Jade, for the beautiful film. There were so many beautiful colors and it's a great representation of Palestinian culture that I feel like, unfortunately, we don't get to see represented in film. And thank you for also shedding light on the history and then also the now. And I pray that we see a free Palestinian in this. I understand that there is a lot that we're still trying to understand, and a lot of things that we're still trying to process. Um, there's a lot of those feelings that I had mentioned before, right? I knew coming into this space that I'm still feeling anger, I'm still feeling disbelief, I'm still feeling so many things that I don't even know what to do with. I don't know how to process those things. I don't know like who I'm supposed to process those things with. And that's part of the reason why we wanted to host this space, right? Is we're all here together in community. And I feel like a lot of times people believe that when life gets hard, you have to do it alone. When things are unimaginable, you have to go through it by yourself. And that's not true. We're all here to be a part of your community so that we can move through all of these things together. I say all that just to say, I understand if there are feelings that you don't want to share, but does anyone want to share colors or sensations or anything that came to mind while watching the film? Can you translate that for just in case?
Basically, God will be the judge, take care of everything. Figure it out.
We are going to continue with our programming again. Incredible film. There are so many things that I feel like we could still talk about. And that's something that we're hoping to hold a space for in the future. But otherwise, if you want to share, there are many ways that you can use. And we'll make sure that I don't know if we shared it on our Instagram page, but we will. And if you haven't followed us on Instagram, it's at GenerAction Jam. A lot of these performances will be posted either there or on our YouTube, along with all the handles of the artists that are here today, so that you can check out their work. Next up, I would like to call up Sufyan. So, pause the recording for now.
Yeah. are not as heavy. Um, but yeah, how are we feeling? Good. Nice. Okay, so this one I think is a pretty good one. So I wrote this kind of as a critique of like the way that social media kind of operates now, especially in the modern age. I think I mean, there's so much to be said about social media, the pros, the cons. You know, obviously there are lots of benefits to this type of technology. In fact, a lot of what we know about what's happening in Palestine, a lot of us in this room wouldn't really know much about it unless we had access to a tool like social media. At the same time, you know, there are lots of potential problems when you misuse social media. There can be a lack of a real connection with other human beings. There can be a lot of narratives that are like easily spread on social media that it's not even like fake news. It's just things that are like echo chambers that are created of voices that um, are not really an accurate representation of reality. And so I think there's like one space in social media where everyone's kind of like on an island, comfortable, like saying things that they wouldn't say in person, comfortable listening to things and flirting with ideas that they would never really like actually consider in person. So yeah, this poem was kind of like to shed a light, not just on that, but also like the social media culture that is created of like, you know, this like kind of like narcissism, like look at me kind of mentality that a lot of people in society are starting to develop. And so it's kind of a critique and an expression of all of these things. Uh, and so it's kind of neat, like it starts off with a conversation between me and like a friend. Before I give this poem, you know, I just want to say I love my friends, you know, but yeah. Okay. So here's how it starts, Michelle. So, okay. I was having a conversation with one of my guys the other day, and I was telling him, man, lately I've been feeling stressed. I mean, I know this life's a test, but lately my life ain't feeling too blessed. He told me, man, it sounds like you just need some rest. How about you go on your next trip with us? I told him, my God, this is like our fifth trip this year. I've had enough. He leaned in real close and said, Saviano, there's not much going on in your life. This is the only way you'll level up. And it's at that moment that I took a step back. I had a poetic epiphany, and then I snapped. I said, you can keep your ticket. I don't put my happiness in travel agencies or planes. I don't need a change of place. I need a change of soul today. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the value of change of pace and to witness all the signs that our Lord graciously placed. But come on now, is that really our intention? Or is this just our great escape from all the pressure and the tension? Cop a TikTok of the beautiful scenes for some mentions, hoping it'll keep away all of the depression. You see, our generation, we trade dignity for affection. Call this the modern confession. Displaying fairy tales online, clout chasing is in session. For you, my dear friend, I just have one question. Tell me, what will you do when there will come a day where you can't post enough stories to make the emptiness fade? And on the other side of the picture is a grown man in chains, enslaved to the opinion of masses. His validation is trapped in a maze. His thoughts are locked in a cage, addicted to zombie scrolling, feeling like you're going insane. Can't enjoy the simple things in life anymore because overstimulation is rot in the brain. There's an echo chamber of self-proclaimed experts online, yet years have gone by and they haven't turned a page, forging opinions to things which they cannot relate. Character limits will never produce knowledge that saves. It will put a limit on your character. You won't reach the status of sage, chasing the facade of perfect. The only life that matters is yours because you're broadcasting it on stage. You got a suit and tie persona, but let's be honest, you're still playing childish games. Wait, hold up. Let's save the innocent from this rage.
Because do we see children posting all that they did today? And is it really innocence or is it the purity in their veins that tells them life is meant to be lived? Show and tell is not every day. Not every blessing needs to be up front and center on display. So it's time to leave the dreams and fairy tales. This life ain't Jannah. Happily ever after was never for sale. In this world, suffering is just a part of the package. The sooner you realize, the less chaos and drama will happen. I know you feel deceived. It's a healthy reaction, but you're still breathing, my dear friend. So there's still time for retractions. Trade back the facade of perfect for authenticity. What a noble transaction. And never forget that freedom of heart and mind, man, they are the greatest satisfaction. To sum up, don't paint a picture. Learn to live your life in the confines of reality and let the cold, hard truth of your life be your greatest masterpiece. He said, yo, caption that on Instagram. I said, no, that would be a tragedy. I'm good, man. Inshallah. That was awesome.
Water.
Damn. Where are we at? How are we feeling? Did it change? Any words? Any colors?
We had all the words.
All the words? Every single word. Okay, we have a couple of more performers before we move on to our feature. And this person signed up today. So excited. Also first time, right? I think first time here. Yeah, someone. Yeah. Okay, great. Another first timer. Welcome to the stage, Sara. Please welcome everybody. So what colors are y'all talking about?
Yellow.
Yellow.
Why yellow?
Yellow is dangerous. Yeah. Okay, ready? Hello, everyone. My name is Samra. This is my first time performing outside of like a youth camp environment. So thank you for bearing with me here. This is a piece that I wrote 2 years ago. There's some math in here. I'll update the numbers to be relevant to today. But it is based off of a talk from Sheikh Omar Suleiman on Khadija al-Anha. And it's like a 2.5 hour lecture. It's on YouTube. Highly recommend you guys get the whole experience. This is honestly just like a abstract of that talk. And I hope we learn something and I hope it's inspiring. Right. 1,468 years ago, year 555, she was born. In the desert of Ijaz lived an example of someone I longed to know, breaking glass ceilings and challenging cultural norms centuries before any feminist was born. From the clan of Asad, Khadija bin Khuwaylid bin Asad bin Abdul Uzza bin Husayb, daughter of Fatima bin Zaida, would grow to be a mother of her own. Not just for her own children, of which there would be 9. She would become al-Mu'mineen for the Muslims of all time. Before she gains this title, she's Amira al-Quraysh, princess of the Quraysh, running her own kingdom, a business of caravan trade. She married Malik ibn Nabash until he would pass, and then Atiq ibn Aid too would at last. Both chiefs of Quraysh who would leave behind money, and yet I can't fathom the pain of losing so many. Twice then, only in her mid-20s. She carried on with Hind Hala Hind, her kids, the first three, and built a business from her inheritance to a size unseen. Her caravan alone equaled that of all of Quraysh's combined. Her wealth was inherited, but her intelligence was her own. She could trade dust for gold, is what we're told. With her wits, she'd take what she was given and it would grow and grow. But don't be misled. She wasn't just corporate. Brushes of character and generosity paint her portrait. Beautiful, literate, sharp, well dressed. Idols weren't her scene. Monotheism is where she leaned. But the true gold lived in her giving heart. A green silk pavilion hung above her roof, setting her home apart. Not for status, mind you, but as a flag to indicate that this was the place to give. She was a supporter of the poor, widows, orphans, and kids. Her status came from her magnanimity, well before revelation came to guide humanity. Khadija al-Kubra, Khadija the Great. She received countless proposals which she would shun from Abu Jahl, Abu Sufyan, and Utbah, all men of power. She continued to reject them one by one until a business deal in Syria would have her undone, and she found herself pursuing one. Let's set the scene of how the greatest couple in history came to be, a businesswoman in a sea of men. Her kindness often led to the happiest of ends. Men would lead her caravan and never return, stealing her profits and leaving her burned. On the hunt for a trustworthy partner in business, Hala, her sister, would send a recommendation her way, a trustworthy shepherd who tended to her sheep. Maybe Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi would make a good employee. So Khadija went to Abu Talib asking, yo, what's his fee? And while initially reluctant, his uncle would finally cede, and to Syria, Khadija's caravan, the Prophet, would lead. He would double her profits in a most impressive way, and Maysara, her servant, would testify to how he spent his days. It was Nafisa, her friend, who planted the seed, the idea of marriage to the man whose character was so clean. Nafisa took this proposal to the Prophet, Sallallahu Alaihi, would you want to marry a woman with nobility, wealth, and character? And he responded, what makes you think she'd want to marry me? And well, the rest is history. Waraka, Khadija's cousin, would later validate his prophecy, would conduct the ceremony. And this is the story of how the union of Al-Tahira, the pure, and Al-Amin came to be. There's much to be learned from such a match. A wealthy woman seeking the companionship of a man who was younger, poor, orphaned, so different from her last two husbands. She was 40 and he was 25. It's clear character was the only factor in mind, a trait of this relationship that would withstand the tests of time. In the first 5 years of marriage, they'd have 6 children, Qasim, Zainab, Ruqayya, Kulthum, Fatima, and Abdullah, of 2 whom in infancy they'd have to bury. Even more loss for Khadija to carry. But their house is full of life, with all of their children combined. Not to mention Zayd ibn Haritha and Ali radiallahu anhu, who also in their home you'd find. For 15 years, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi is living the life. He's got status, he's got wealth, and he's got the best wife. When a new habit of seclusion takes hold of his heart, and every so often to Hira, he'd take the trek in which they'd be apart. Khadija, ever supportive, would never complain. Instead, she'd do the 3-mile trek to take food to the cave. At 55 years old, for her, this is no easy feat, but the love between them is clearly so deep. When revelation strikes, the Prophet ﷺ runs to Khadija in fear. Of all the people who you could have reached, he chose to go to her, his wife, who he knew would be the best comforter. Zammiluni, he explains, cover me, cover me. She gives him solace, she gives him cover. And with it, Allah sends Surah Mudaththir. He, sallallahu alayhi, receives revelation in Khadija's arms. This was the role she played in early Islam. From the clan of Asad, she wasn't amongst the shunned. Her tribe didn't suffer in the boycott against Abdullah's son. She could have lived in comfort, but insisted on being at the Prophet's side. She plotted with her nephew to sneak provisions inside, all of which she gave away in donations. The great princess of Quraysh, how fall she had fallen. All of which she had given away in donations. She lived off of leaves, eating grass to sustain her own continuation. The great princess of Quraysh, how far she had fallen. And still she stood by her husband. She was all in. Khadija was the first to accept Islam, the first ever Muslim, first to do wudu with him, the first to pray with him, the first to stand in qiyam.
and the first to receive Allah's salam. Her role was so critical, its importance cannot be overstated. She brought the Prophet status, protection, and connections. She spent all her wealth on him and on those who raised him, even giving 40 sheep and a camel to Halima, the woman who nursed him and loved him to the brim. Later in life, the Prophet ﷺ would repay this habit by providing for the friends of Khadija's past, giving them time, money, and food and every opportunity which passed. The love between the couple was that of fairy tales. In a society where polygamy is the norm, this young man never sought another. This relationship was monogamous for 25 years. Khadija would be the only wife to provide prophetic lineage. She died at the age of 65 in Ramadan 619. In the year of sorrow, she's laid to rest in Al-Hujun, a weight of pain so difficult that our Prophet ﷺ always carried. Whenever he visited, he'd pitch a tent next to the grave of the first woman he married. Prophetic narration counts Khadija among those who perfected her character. Before prayer, fasting, and our pillars are prescribed, she's already a woman with a strong iman inside. She perfected her character before Islam was perfected for us. It's no wonder she has a pearl palace promised in Jannah. Her contributions are truly too many to discuss. Now that we know her story, maybe we can appreciate her name. See, there's no record of the name Khadija before her. It was one of a kind. Linguistically, it means premature, perhaps foreshadowing that she was truly ahead of her time. There's no Khadija before Khadija, and there will never be one after. But still, to emulate her example, even Zubair ibn Awam, her nephew, would name both his daughters after her. Khadija al-Kubra and Khadija al-Sugura, the older and the younger, because one Khadija just wasn't enough to serve as the Ummah's wonder. So here I am in 2023, struggling to find the words. Because you see, I'm a woman in business, in a sea of men, and so often I've felt alone. Lost in how to interact and lost in how to keep hope. A single woman in a society where status comes from marriage, admittedly, it can be hard to cope. I think of Khadija anha, and I send her all of my salam. How I long to have known this woman, this gem, who would shake the earth with her caravans. 800 camels in a single delegation is one description we have. Thinking I'm cool in my 280 horsepower is actually pretty sad. I'd love to know how she did it. How did she hold such grace? Never was she bitter. Never did she question her fate. She trusted her instinct and she never compromised her values. I'd ask her to hold a workshop on how to navigate the corporate bayou. The Prophet ﷺ was reported to have said, "The love of Khadija was a risk upon him." A statement of such magnitude, but it rings true. For truly, just knowing she was an example in our history is a risk upon me and a risk upon you. I heard that was really good over here. What did you like about it?
So like poetic.
Informative and poetic, yes. It's empowering.
I have a question. What's the name of the lecture?
Just look up Sheikh Omar Suleiman Khadija and it should pop up on YouTube. Anything else? Yes.
I like how she said I'm a woman in business in the sea of men because from there you can it can be hard, I think, in a way to express your opinion or advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just like different culture. Something like that.
So it's like a good way to express how that culture is prevalent these days, right? Thank you. That was such a treat. Okay, so there's one person. So that I think okay, perfect. You are here. Another new person what really great like making sure to reach all areas of the community. And again, if y'all know any other people that haven't been here, bring them on. We love having new people. So say, welcome.
Microphone one.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
So,
Can you hear me? This piece is untitled, and here goes. Bismillah. If I knew then what I know now, I would have stayed a bit longer. I would have hugged you tight. I would have tried to end contact sooner. I would have apologized and tried to make things better. I would have sent you that text that I kept deleting. I would have. But would haves are useless, aren't they? You've gone somewhere I can't follow you to. I hope we'll be reunited eventually. But until then, I'll take care of your friend, and we'll console each other. I'll pray for your soul whenever you come to mind. Ironically, you come to mind more now than you did before you left. You taught me that life is never guaranteed, but death is. It's a gamble we take daily, but we forget it's a gamble when we've been on the monkey street for so long. Until someone's debt is collected and we're left scrambling, we make sure to apologize immediately. We don't let things fester. We tell people how we feel about them, but we humans have a short memory span and eventually grow complacent once again. We leave someone in anger after an argument. We say things we don't mean and hold on to our anger and negative feelings. We assume that we'll have time to cool off, apologize, and reconcile. We withhold from telling someone how much we love and appreciate them, in fear of seeming clingy, and think to ourselves that we have time. We'll tell them when we're more comfortable, until we get that call, or see that post, or story, or text, and realize that the last thing we said were venomous lies. That we can't take back because we're out of time. What we forget is that words we say may possess us, but it's words we didn't say that haunt us forever.
Yeah, definitely caught that last line. That's so me. I'm such a, if I don't say it, I'm gonna think about it for the next like 5 years. I think that we had one more person sign up. Yeah, do you want to come up? All right, cool. I didn't know you were lit. What's your name? Pennsylvania. Do you spoken word? Okay, great. This one. Okay, sorry, I missed that. Let me know. First time. Okay, third time. Amazing. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you all for waiting. I really appreciate this. One thing I was trying to figure out was, is it scarier to be like the first person, like in the front of the roller coaster, or like at the very end? Like I don't know. We'll see. I'm feeling kind of good right now because thank you to the host. You've created a. Oh, okay, cool. Maybe, yeah. Thanks for creating a comforting environment. So my name's Omar. I've written 2 books. One of them's a poetry book, and I just wanted to share 3 poems. So this first one, it's called Maktub, and in Arabic it means it is written. Maktub. Your life will never be my life, and my life will never be your life. And in that, there is beauty for both of us. So that's the first one. This second one, thank you. This second one is called charades. Charades. When we have nothing better to do, we play charades. And then we pay for putting on the wrong costume. So that's charades. And then this last one, it's called Dedicated to My Grandmother. But it also extends to just relatives and friends in general. Right now, she sits before me, but someday she will die. I am certain of it. Woe be, oh woe be. How is it that man fails the moment and bawls about its loss later? I'm certain I will miss her when she leaves. But sitting here, I find it hard to enjoy her presence. I will recount the couple of conversations and frown on the many silences between us. Pero se kahabene, pero se sunamene. Kash unse kuch kaha hota, kash unse kuch suna hota. Right now she sits before me. And that last bit that I wrote in Urdu, it means I've said things to strangers and I've heard things from strangers. I wish I had said something to her. I wish I had heard something from her. So that's that, and it extends to relatives and friends too. There's so many people that are meaningful in my life. Just kind of giving me this kind of. So those are the three that I've written. Thanks again for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I think I tried to anticipate like what he was gonna say next. It was like not what I thought he was gonna say. Okay. We are now at our last performance of the night. Sarah, before you got in here, I did talk about you a little bit. I'm gonna do it again for everyone. Hey, I'm gonna tell a story first, okay? Just because I'm feeling so many different emotions. I'm feeling so much like I feel like I'm on an emotional roller coaster and that I'm still on the high, you know, I want to come down a little bit. So random story. My grandmother wanted to go to Orlando for her 70th birthday party. She loves Harry Potter, and so she that was the thing that she wanted to do. She made sure like all her family was there. Ended up being a girls' trip, which was amazing. I'm not a roller coaster person at all. Like I've done it, hated it, did it again because I was like, maybe it'll be different. No, it was just as bad the second, third, fourth time, you know? I used to work at Six Flags, so that's when I was like, okay, you work at Six Flags, you gotta ride the roller coaster. No, I don't know why I keep trying it. But my grandmother, she was like a 13-year-old kid. And she said, we're all gonna ride this one roller coaster. That's my one birthday request. We're gonna ride this roller coaster. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with Hagrid, but it's Hagrid's ride. And it's so chill and it's so fun and you're gonna enjoy it. I'm like, okay, grandma. No. It was the worst ride that I have ever been on in my life. It was so fast. So I closed my eyes and I'm thinking like that'll make it feel better. And then I'm thinking, okay, like it's still going. So let me open my eyes a little bit. We're going backwards. And so I close my eyes again. I'm like, okay, like just man up and get through this ride. I open my eyes, we're in a dark tunnel, and we immediately drop into the floor. So I close my eyes for the rest of the ride. And hopefully this is on live. So I'm saying it now. I will never ride another roller coaster again. But I was so shocked. Like my body was so shocked for the rest of the trip that I was like, I was the 70-year-old and she was like, the younger 20-ish. I'm not gonna say my age, but like the 20 me. She was me. What I could have been had I not gotten on that roller coaster. So I say all that just to say that we're gonna come down from this ride at some point. But I'm really excited to go on one more wave because I know Sarah, you're just gonna bring us all around this town. I hate that I said that, but Sara Bawany is an award-winning poet, an author, clinical social worker, and a freelance editor based in Austin, Texas. So thank you for driving all the way over here from Austin. She has an event in Austin tomorrow, so this is short-lived for us, but she published her first collection of poetry in 2018, Wholehearted, which I know probably all of there got. And a collection of poetry and prose in her second poetry book, which some of y'all all over there also got. Quarter Life Crisis was published in October 2023, and I'm really excited that y'all are going to be able to hear some pieces from that tonight. There are so many things that resonated with me, and I feel like it was a great privilege to get to know you through words. I feel like we need to balance out the scales a little bit. So whenever you want to get to know me, just let me know, and we'll like figure that out. Um, but I am into coffee and activism and radical women, and all of those things are in this book. So I'm really excited for y'all to be able to hear from it today. Sarah. So now what? I don't feel it. It's late. This is way past my bedtime. I'm gonna make y'all do something really quick because I need a little bit more energy in this room. Stand up and just shake it out a little bit. I know you're gonna hate me, but you're gonna feel better after, I promise. So shake it out, do a little wiggle, whatever you need to do. And then everyone just move a little closer and let's get a little cozier because everyone's really spread far out. So if you're against the wall, just like come closer against the wall. A little closer. You can sit down whenever you're ready. Yeah. My legs are falling asleep. All right, yes, you guys, you're really far. Come a little closer. It's okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, bismillah. My whole life, I've been told that my name Sara means princess. Babynames.com further defines it as joy and delight, but also noble woman, lady of high rank. I'm severely anti-classist, so I find this to be outrageous. I like everything to be symmetrical, but I have trouble parking straight. My love language is words of affirmation, and as a poet, the irony isn't lost on me. The first boy I loved told me I was a dumb genius, so clearly I am an amalgam of paradoxes. My birthplace is Minnesota, but I hate the cold. I was born in October, but my favorite season is spring. I'm loud around quiet people and quiet around loud people. Gryffindor. The Hogwarts house known for bravery is where I get sorted into by every quiz I have ever taken, but my anxiety cripples me daily. The MBTI test says I'm an INFJ, or the counselor. The Enneagram says I'm a 1, or the reformer. And the phrase my therapist told me years ago about how I'm 16 going on 40 is finally starting to make sense. The flowers at my bedside are currently decaying, and isn't that the metaphor for our mid-20s? How a thing that ought to be blooming is just not. My diary tells me that at the age of 14, I could start a conversation with a stranger, but today I can't walk into a room full of people I don't know without having a meltdown. I spent years trying to force myself to feel safe in this body, but somewhere along the way, the little brown girl who always ended up top of her class amongst an endless sea of white faces began to internalize. And I'm not the best one in the room, and I have nothing to offer. I am nothing. Somewhere along the way, that began to feel true. I traversed 11 different schools in my life, so the idea of permanence is a fantasy. I learned from a very young age that home was wherever I was, so I've kept all my goodbye cards, funny homework assignments, art projects, and my first actual poetry book held together by staples inside a 3-piece set of memory boxes. Because after being uprooted so many times, these were all I had left. My beloved tells me that when he holds me, only half of me is in his arms and the other half is looking around for something in the room to straighten or clean. My job description includes teaching others how to calm their anxiety, but I myself don't know how to stop searching for something else to fix, and I will scrub my hands raw to disguise the chaos inside. There is a history of OCD in my family, and I suspect history is repeating itself. Hi, my name is Sara. I'm a social worker, a therapist, and a poet. I love Nutella and Talenti gelato. I'm also severely flat-footed and trip on everything in sight. My hobbies include drowning in nostalgia, collecting poetry books, and beating myself up over things I can't control. I'm a master at organizing my possessions, and I rarely lose things, but sometimes I wonder if I've lost myself trying to fix everything around me. I guess no matter how much I try to organize my life, no matter how many tasks I take on and checklists I create, I'm procrastinating how much work is left to do just to learn to love myself. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna read a spicy poem, or I hope it's spicy. I don't know. We'll see. This is called A Response to You're a Little Too Radical. Yes, because the dirt that crumbles between our fingers has not yet dried from all the blood that was spilled to fulfill manifest destiny. Because despite all the work, there are days the mirror cackles at my unruly curls and dark skin. Because July 4th is a cacophony of fireworks raining down from the night sky to muffle the cacophony of bombs raining down back home. Because billionaires could eradicate world hunger but are instead eating us alive with greed only to dehydrate themselves in space. Because the decayed bones of children are begging to be unearthed. Because the global south dared to defy gravity and was forced to orbit a celestial body it had vowed never to bow down to. Because prophets were also considered too radical. Because the Middle Passage was the most unwilling graveyard to ever exist where nobody was dignified with a funeral. Because the people who claimed to represent us screech at the sight of pigs but still scavenge for photo ops with them. Because Mother Earth is being strangled by lined pockets and empty hearts. Because a bookstore owner mourns his life's work knowing he can no longer bring smiles to the people of Gaza. Because a publicly known rapist just gave a grandiose speech at a wedding. Because your favorite shift is fondling little boys and girls. Because slavery is now concealed behind bars. Because the man who beats his wife is the spitting image of the man who writes policies to tear families apart. Because some of us still believe that the entities dripping of flesh at their jaws are coming to save us. Because all of this is the true violence they keep distracting you from. Because every single oppression is interconnected and there is so much work to be done. Because this world feels so evil some days that I am positive God's greatest mercy to mankind was creating hell. Call me radical, because I don't know how to live in this world without that fire. Because this rage feels like I'm about to burn it all down. Because I dream of the day we can build a new world from the ashes. Because I swear there is no other way to be. Because it is the only way to be. Took on a roller coaster, didn't I? I hope.
Spicy.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Um, Obviously, there's so much happening in the world, and everyone has done a really good job of acknowledging it. And I have a poem in here called Uncles of Palestine. Um, and we see a lot of different rhetoric on social media. We're talking about the women and the children, but I'm noticing in all the videos that are circulating, it's always like the men and the uncles you see pulling people out of the rubble. And I think they're the ones who are forgotten. And in 2019, I got to go to Jerusalem for like 24 hours. It was a really short trip. But I swear that day just changed my life. And you could feel the land you walk on is holy. Like you just know it. You feel it in your bones. And I miss it so much. And that's what makes everything that's happening so beautiful. But this is kind of my tribute to them. It's called Uncles of Palestine. The Uncles of Palestine are a different breed of men. They can spot newcomers from one end of Jerusalem to another. With a warm smile, they ask if you need help, where you are going, where you are from, give you precise directions. They know many can't return there. They welcome you to the Holy Land anyway. The Uncles of Palestine laugh heartily. Cigarettes in one hand and shag in the other, they speak of their families and of current events. They delight in a foreigner who can chat in broken Arabic with them, and they sell olives and spices and pomegranate juice in the alleyways of the old city. Kanafa doesn't taste the same anywhere else, and they know this well, insisting on taking you to the best bakery in Jerusalem. The Uncles of Palestine are a godsend, the ones who safeguard the holy sites and are eager to teach you the history of the sacred earth beneath your feet. The shopkeepers with their bushy mustaches and kind eyes who tell you stories of apartheid. The bus drivers, their generosity having no bounds, who send money home to their families but can't return to them. The taxi drivers who have transported travelers from around the world. The ones who turn from drivers to safeguards. The ones who turn from workers to friends. The Uncles of Palestine, in their gentle and patient demeanor and in their quick wits and sharp tongues, are the definition of resistance. They ignore the implanted soldiers at the gates and walk to Al-Aqsa every morning for Fajr. The way they live, the way they love, the fire in their eyes, the tranquility shining through their smiles is enough to make you fall in love with this land, this keeper of the olive trees, this home of the prophets. Y'all know what a voice poem is? Well, you probably do, just didn't know the name because I also didn't know the name of it. A voice poem is when you try to embody somebody else's voice and you kind of write in that voice. Drink water later. So this is kind of channeling every middle school hijabi who was super excited when she saw another hijabi in school. Do you remember that feeling? It's so fun. Now we live in like Houston and Austin and like we're everywhere. We've taken over. So this is called Ode to the New Hijabi in School. Salaam alaikum feels weird to say here, doesn't it? Let's just stick with salam, girl. So where are you from? Do you want to ask the teacher where you and I can pray dhuhr together in the middle of lunch? Chiffon or satin or viscose or modal? Pins or no pins? Undercap or no? How do you drape it so perfectly? Will you give me a tutorial after class? By the way, that salad at lunch has bits of bacon in it. Be careful. Have you seen that brown boy with a nice beard across the hall? Do you think he's Muslim or Wallah bro Muslim? He plays basketball at the masjid every Friday night, but I saw him holding hands with that girl over there, so probably the latter. Astaghfirullah, that's gross. She's not even pretty, she's just white. Let's break our fast together at the pep rally. I already have 100 in this class, but we get extra credit for going. Do your parents not let you stay out late or listen to music even? Which masjid do you spend Ramadan at? Anyway, the boys keep asking me why we wear this thing on our heads and if Osama was our grandfather. How much do you want to bet we'd be suspended if we actually said yes? Us feisty girls, wrapped in elaborately pinned scarves that can't hide the mouth on us, designated experts on all things math, curry, and terrorism. Someone asked me the other day if you and I are related to each other, even though we speak different languages and have tremendously distinct complexions. We might as well be. We're the only ones who understand what it means to be so radiant that no one around us notices. SubhanAllah. Here we go from the first book. It's the last group. This is a longer one. This is one of my favorite like rhymey poems. I don't really like write rhymey poems anymore. But I want to, and I kind of miss it. And everybody here inspired me, so I'm gonna read it. It's called Dehydration. Starting line. Countdown begins, say your prayers. $100 shoes on your left, your hand-me-downs don't compare. Left to right, toes on the line. No time for rebirth. Did you even ask for this life? The whistle blows and it's ready, get set, go as soon as you leave your mother's womb, stuck in this uncomfortable costume. But life was never meant to give you any wiggle room. This track is no different and it will consume you. Past the 100-meter line, past a quarter of your life. The numbers keep adding up, you're out of breath, and you wait for a sign that you're more than who you're behind, but you're falling behind, and society begins to confine you, put you in boxes you never asked to be divided into. Hierarchies, income, color of your skin, the width of your waist, the monsters within, survival of the fittest, and you are never the most fit. Bit by bit, the other runners pass you, society teaches you to submit. You learn to admit that you're not special. You were never meant to stand out or be influential. And the longer you run, the more you realize that you're just a number on the track, your weight bracket, your height, the width of your thighs, whitewashed, beady eyes, carefully scrutinize every inch of you till you cease to recognize who you were at the starting line. This world is a race, and those who are weak will be left behind. Forget about ever crossing that anticipated finish line. The timer ticks and your feet slip as exhaustion sets in from your journey's cliffs. The thirst for recognition, the sun in your eyes, maybe the world decided you were destined to remain blind and that was your fate, your final demise. To watch yourself run as fast as you possibly could but never be as good. Watch your friends, your family, your loved ones, people richer than you, people better than you, people smarter than you, people faster than you. There will always be people faster than you. There will always be people who finished before you, and playing catch up is a death sentence long overdue. Some of us never make it to the end. This race, this world is slowly breaking us, depriving us of water and life where it is not enough anymore to claim that you tried. The system is designed to never let us reach the end, let alone be first, but instead fills us with just the right amount of hot air till we burst. Teaches us to confuse lust for love, contentment for material things, and happiness for smiles. But who are we kidding? We are failing, and continuing to run was never worthwhile. From the start, we were losing this race, trying to save face, It's about time we came to terms with the fact that we have a place in this world and it is not at the top. But if you've spent your life running this long, what makes you think you would ever be able to stop? A little short. I have two more poems. Yeah, do you remember the spicy radical one I read earlier? This poem is something I consider like the antithesis to that. And I was telling my friend earlier that, you know, I have a lot of rage and anger. I think a lot of us do, especially after the last couple of weeks. And I always channeled it in these very specific ways. And I felt like I really did just want to burn everything down. Like I hated everything. But when I wrote this poem, I feel like I wrote my way out of it a little bit because, you know, fire is really important and anger is really important. And anger can move mountains, but anger doesn't build bridges, right? Fire doesn't build bridges, it burns them down. The thing we have in our lives that builds is water, which is why I think this is the antithesis of that. You know, Allah says in the Quran over and over for us to notice the signs. He talks about the womb and the trees and the sky and the rain, and every single time after he says, indeed, these are signs for, you know, all of mankind to reflect on. And so I take that seriously in my poetry because I think there's so much around us and so much beauty around us that we can learn from. So this is kind of my poem for that. It's called Planting Seeds. When I was 7, upon hearing that my family was to be uprooted for the 3rd time in my life across the country, my feral rebellion to my little Ohio suburban home was to do the opposite, to plant what I hoped would become an apple tree. A few brown seeds of the last apple I ate went into a hole in our flower bed I dug with my grubby little hands, desperate to return one day and discover quite literally the fruits of my labor. But at 7, I knew nothing about gardening. Nothing about the proportion of sun to soil to water, and certainly nothing about patience. Yet the hope I had that it would blossom is something I think we could extract, something we could make the sweetest nectar from, something to make us pause for a moment and drink in the innocence, the simplicity. Go back to the basics. Go back to the possibility. No, the certainty that planting a seed can and will create a new and better world. So tell me, what hopes did you have for your world at 7 years old? Did you dream about planting seeds of your own? Did you tend to your own gardens of promises beneath which rivers flowed? What trees were you forced to leave behind but naively trusted to bloom in your absence? When was it that you or a loved one were plucked from this innocence like weeds? Which of you had to withstand the unimaginable for your naivete to combust? What new story was it that lit the first match beneath you? How old were you when you started fanning the flames of your own personal fire? How many hearts did you leave kindled on your path to justice? Which of this world's most horrible abominations did you put a torch to? More importantly, at what point did that fire engulf you? When did you hope to find yourself in the thick of the blaze only to lose yourself in the darkness? How deep were you in the inferno before the heat burned you up and burned you out? Listen, I've written a lot of poems about rage and fire and the anger required to tackle the monsters we only thought would haunt us in our dreams. I too have fought and cried and tried to wake up, but found myself on the front lines, on the phone, online, with the leaders, the lava cooking me alive, and I too have daydreamed about what the world would look like if we burned it all down and started over. I too have burnt up my last flickering candle, romanced by the poetry of the destruction, the hypnotic dance of the flame, eager to warm up my cold heart, striving to feel something besides despair. And yet there's a reason burnout contains the word burn. There's a reason fire only takes us so far. When we are left with a colossal pile of ashes and charred remains asking, now what? No, that it is not fire that will create a new world, but water. Because even after the great flood, a dove still returned to Noah's ark with an olive branch. Did you know that as babies, water makes up 78% of our bodies, dropping to 65% by the time we reach our first birthday? Maybe that explains why we are so full of life as children, so full of virtue. What a gift that the answer has been gushing within us this whole time, that the sea, ebbing and flowing within our very bodies, has given us a lesson in balance from the moment we were born. Did you know that water asserted its dominance on this planet millions of years before fire could? Did you know that the reason we can see the Grand Canyon from space is because a persistent ocean now long gone knew it could literally change the world? Water is the most versatile thing to ever exist. It is the only major substance that can take on all 3 forms of matter, adapt to its environment. No need for it here, it will evaporate and bless the gift of itself somewhere else in the world. Too cold and it will work to preserve its freshness by transforming to ice. It can destroy just as well as it sculpts. It can house life and in the same breath erode it. Water quenches the fire, but doesn't stop there, but nourishes, pours into, protects, grows, rebuilds. So go ahead, rise up, but do it like an ocean wave. Go crashing down only to come right back. Erode those systemic barriers, but be a monsoon. Shower them with so much of your rage, but leave flowers and budding crops in the process. Safeguard your people with a fury, but be like the glaciers, which love fresh water so much they have been calmly rock solid to protect it for thousands of years. Be like the water that baptizes a baby, that purifies a Muslim 5 times a day before prayer. Moses may not be here to split the Red Sea anymore, but the pharaohs of our time without a doubt will drown in our love. And what world could we create if we all watered our own little apple trees? If we didn't abandon them to chase the fire, but instead nourished them. There's nothing more exhilarating than uprooting the walls, but there's nothing more rewarding than cultivating the bridges. No evil is greater than the divine power of our love. And perhaps changing the world is too big an ambition, but there are endless possibilities when planting new seeds. I'm going to read one more. This is like my Muslim protest poem, which I love, and it's more recent. It's not in my book. Have any of y'all heard of Fatima Asghar? Oh, sad. She's wonderful. She wrote episode 5 of Miss Marvel. Did you guys watch Miss Marvel? Okay, here we go. She's a really brilliant poet. She's Kashmiri, I believe. And she has a book and then a poem after that book called If They Come For Us. So this is my poem that's in response to that. It's called When They Come For Us. These are my people, and I find them in the masjid washing their feet, and in the streets waving flags, and in the hookah bars blowing sultry rings in the thickly perfumed air. Through war, prison, and immigrant dreams squashed by minimum wage, my people, whirling dervish firecrackers rivaled by auntie who claps henna embroidered hands louder than her screams to quiet unleashed children who steal keys and shoes and smoke behind the building just before Isha. Teen girl notorious for showing off too much arm and ankle, field stares, rips off hijab after leaving the masjid but still returns the next Friday. Fundraiser uncle, Uber driver uncle, masjid uncle zealously correcting imam, beards as wild as they are gentle or as scraggly as they are grumpy. Aunties grit their teeth as they cook for entire congregations and you can smell the fragrant spices in their sweat. MashaAllah. I claim them all, made in the image of God. His existence, the only thing we unanimously agree upon, lest a moon sighting ruin us. My people, I can't be misguided. When I encounter you, my qibla recalibrates toward the justice and poetry passionately preached from the pulpits. Our vibrance makes us as rich as we are divided, and poor and lost, and fearful and fearless. My people, I follow you as if in prayer. When they come for us, and they have, and they will, line us all up. The uncle whose barbecue is certainly the stuff of legends of Jannah. Everyone's favorite auntie, Abaya sweeping the floor behind her. And finally, the Gen Z Muslims who cling to vapes and phones as firmly as they do their identities. Light us all up, and you will see just how much we glow. Jazakallah khair. Friends, if you would like to buy a book, I'm selling them outside. Please come visit me after. It's okay. I think everyone needs to go to sleep. One more time for Sarah. Okay, I told you I'm a slow processor, so I had a minute to like process something, and I've changed my mind. Ride the roller coaster. I'm probably gonna do it again at some point. No, I know that it's gonna make me feel 70 again. And I think that it's just like also a metaphor. I'm like full of metaphors for life tonight, so you're gonna get that one. Take the highs and lows of life and make sure that you know where you are every step of the way. Like that's my advice to you. Because you can do it as long as you know exactly where you're at in that moment, right? I saw this quote on Instagram that is talking a lot about like political sustainability, but I think that this also applies to personal sustainability. It's not just about our reactions, but our forethought of where we will be financially, emotionally, and socially in the future, and how that may impact how we can and want to show up, right? I feel like these days we feel like we have to go super hard all the time. That's not sustainable, right? And we know that our fight is going to go much longer than we can if we burn ourselves out. So what does that look like? 3 pieces of advice for you. You don't have to take it super unsolicited. I hate unsolicited advice, but here it is. Reach out to your community. I'm so serious. We are all here for you. There's so many resources, and it could literally just be a conversation away that connects you to the thing that you didn't know you needed, or the thing that you knew you needed but didn't know how to get to. We must not continue the culture of isolation in our efforts to activate. Make sure that you are in